Welcome to another edition of African American Ain't African, the talk show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't find his way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One, and we're going to do a real quick program this morning. And I want to use this to get the people to think. I want to share something with you that's been going on in the group, and this is really disturbing. A young lady comes in the group and says that she needs proof that DNA tests are hoax because that's all she's been hearing about. Now, I don't know about many of you guys, but thinking just means you're putting your brain to use. If you don't think that DNA tests, if you think that DNA tests are real, why are all these people having problems with it? One reason, and this is what hit me, is why would you send your DNA to complete strangers? You wouldn't give your PIN number to complete strangers. You wouldn't put your phone number out there for complete strangers. Yes, yet you will send your DNA to people you don't even know. And when somebody says, why would you do that? You avoid the question. Why would you send your DNA to people you don't even know? And instead of putting your brain to work and thinking about that, you get the typical African American response is to get emotional, to get mad, to call people names. And when all you had to do was think. You have you're gonna have about 100 million people coming over here in the next 10 years. If these people are coming over here and they realize that you don't think, what do you think that means for us? What do you think is happening when these people come here and realize that we don't even think at all? Matter of fact, not only don't we think, we get pissed off if somebody suggests that we do think. Think about it. You're sending your DNA to a company that you don't know. You don't know even if it's a company. They don't care. And then when somebody, because people ask me all the time, are the DNA tests real? That's not my concern. Why would you give one of your most prized possession away and pay? This is the part that gets me. And this is what I'm saying. You guys can tolerate and baby and coddle because that's what you've been doing for the past 300 years. Play it gonna be okay. Jesus gonna come back soon. Where has that gotten you? Where has that gotten you? Where's it gotten you? And we always do this emotionalism. That's for babies. That's for 3 and 4 year olds. And we have grown women who have children that this is how they act. Now you're seeing the problem that's going on. Do not send your DNA to strangers. Your family. Ask your family. I know you've been trained to think that all black people, African American Negroes are bad. No, you have an uncle, you have an aunt, You have an older sister, you have a mother, grandmother, somebody in your family knows the history of your family. Go to them and ask. Because all I'm going to do is ask you the questions to get you to think about what you just said. So I want to share something with you with a sister in the group. And it's like, damn, y'all. And it's just, yeah, you hate her. Nobody can't ask you a question. This sister writes this in the group. And this is what I mean, y'all. This is why we're taken advantage of. This is why the world doesn't mind coming over and making complete morons out of us. Because this is how we act. This is the idiocy that goes on. This sister asks, I need someone to post proof that the DNA tests are bullshit. My cousin is asking. She had found connections to our native land, but says she did, but says she did a test and found her mom to be dominant African. She is open. She just needs proof. So your mom doesn't know who her grandmother is? Your mom doesn't know who her people are? You're just going to take the word of a person who says we got a Maury Povich type person? That's the people who ask these dumbass questions. Come on, y'all. Come on. You wouldn't send your PIN number? You wouldn't put your phone number out for the public? You wouldn't put, there's something that you wouldn't put in the trash because you don't want nobody to in your business. But you would send your DNA to complete strangers, plus pay the people. This is the African American. Now, other people may do it, and that's fine. But African Americans, God, yeah, damn, y'all. I mean, really? So, so the sister asked the question, and I asked her. I asked her this yesterday. Why would anybody give their DNA to complete strangers? And this sister went off. She's still going off now, today. She doesn't answer the question. Because if you answer the question, you would have to stop and think, wow, why do I give my DNA to complete strangers? The next step, you're going to be, damn, that's dumb. I'm not going to do that. My bad. Change and go on with your life. It takes to less than 10 seconds. We don't do that. We get emotional. We start to crying. We start calling people, fuck you, motherfucker. I just asked a question. I'm asking you a question. Why would you give your DNA to people that you don't know, especially when you know what's happening to these young men and women out here that are being killed for their organs? This is what happens when you bullshit your kids. This is what's happening when you lie to your children. They start believing all this stuff. But that's not the point that that gets me. This is the act for proof, and people in the group, they just came up with all kind. She asked for proof, and people in the group gave her all kind of proof. I mean, there's doctors saying that the DNA tests aren't real. They're for entertainment purposes only. This should be common knowledge by now. I mean, this is from yesterday. This is from yesterday. And everybody came out of the woodwork trying to help this sister. And she still don't believe it. So I'm gonna just say this, and deal with reality. Look, y'all, Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. Claude Anderson, you have thousands of people on Facebook and YouTube letting you know this information is you should know like the back of your hand. And I know it's going to be some people out there to say they don't know. Maybe we're in the stage now. It's like when you in a war, you know you in a war. You can pretend like you're not in the war so you don't have to participate. So you don't have to think. So you don't have to ready the other troops in that's in the war. People who are just going on mentally lazy, and that's what African Americans are. Not all, 98%. You haven't heard of the story of Henrietta Lacks? No. Why not? Why aren't you trying to find information? And so what a lot of people want to do, they want to get information, but they don't want to do any thinking behind it to solidify the information that they got. I wouldn't send my DNA to a company, a foreign company. And somehow we think it's cool. Why do we think it's cool? Because all the rest of you guys, anytime one of these idiots come and say, ask a stupid question, it's one of y'all that's gonna say, they they don't know. You it needs help, baby. We come on. By the time you 18, you should be knowing, especially what's going on with us today. You have immigrants pouring into America. Where they're from, they don't look at you how you look at the rest of the world. Because how we into that, we are the world stuff. We love everybody. We think everybody deserves a chance. The chance they're going to take is yours. We don't even care about what's happening to our people here. We care about what happened to the people that we don't even know. Do you think that people in Guatemala are thinking about what's happening to your children? Do you think people in Zimbabwe is thinking about what's happening to your people over here? No, they are trying to keep their bloodlines flowing. And you know what you know what the African American does? The African American tries to kill his off. Then get pissed off when somebody tells you, hey, we shouldn't be doing that. So here this sister does, this sister asks a question about DNA and all kind of people. One sister told her that the 23andMe is bullshit. Your DNA will be used against you and can be used against you. And some people say your DNA can be used to make another you. I don't know about that. I haven't seen that yet, but it's plausible. Brothers was putting up videos of DNA hoaxes. I mean, 1,000 go ahead made a video about the DNA hoax. They'll tell you you're anything. I knew a brother that sent his dog, he didn't swab his mouth, he swabbed his dog's mouth. And it came back that the dog was from Africa, blah, 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 blah. In this day and time, we don't know. I didn't know. That is not an excuse. You didn't know because you didn't want to know. And how do grown people don't know nothing? That's what gets me. I know brothers that can tell you the addresses of colleges, football stadiums. I can tell not I know brothers who know how many seats football stadiums have, but they know nothing about themselves. Better start thinking, y'all. This is not funny. Nobody's not liking you. Nobody's not feeling you. But we got too many people around here that all they want to do is eat potato chips and drink soda and not even paying attention to what's happening to them, not even paying attention to what's happening to their children. And then get mad at other people who try to tell them, look, y'all, we don't have time to sit and explain stuff to you. You gotta think. You gotta go find it out. We're on the run. We are being obliterated off this planet. You're not looking at all these cities where you are and all the homeless people. The homeless people in these cities doesn't tell you anything when all these immigrants are coming over here. Well, we go into school, we go into college. Yeah, but black people are used to go to college to help the immigrants fulfill their goals. There's not one black college graduate that said, you know what, let's take some of these towns that our foreparents built and let's rebuild them and move there and move on with life from there. We don't do that. We try to get into the mainstream. And you've been doing that what? At least since the early 1800s. And where's it got you? Yes, getting a lot of people a whole bunch of things. You Everything that has gotten you doesn't work, and it's only for you for a little while. You think I'm lying? Look at all the doctors that have died in the last 10 years. You can't leave your children jobs. The African American doesn't see it like that. The homeland, the home that birthed you, other people are coming in to give you an abortion. This is what's happening. And this is why I say we got to start thinking, y'all. We got to start thinking, and get off this emotional rant that we're always on. We're always emotional. We're always mad because we don't know nothing, which is nobody's fault but yours. A baby wants to know. A baby tries to taste something to find out what it is. A little kid is asking questions. By the time you 25 and 30 years old, damn, you should know. You have computers in your pocket. And you think listening to trap music is something that ought to be done? Really? This is where the African American is. And I'm telling you seriously, this is no joke. The reason they want to rid you off the land is because so they can do whatever they want to it. They're already doing it now. There was a huge program last night on this pedophile, transgender, homosexual stuff, and the African American has jumped right into it, both feet. But nobody never answers the questions. Homosexuals can't produce themselves, or they don't produce themselves. The African American just la 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 la. You act like that don't matter. This is what's going to wipe you off this planet. It's not being naive, it's being dumb. So I just wanted to bring you this short message. You got to start thinking, guys. I mean, damn. Because if you're not thinking, these millions of immigrants, they're going to be thinking, plotting, scheming against you. You already seen that your females are being disappearing. Your young males are being disappearing. The African American doesn't care. That the African American doesn't care about that. We keep going the way we going. Your generations, you're the kids that are kids now, they won't have grandchildren. We getting out of here quick, fast, and in a hurry. And I know those of you who do think, I know you see it. Those of you who don't think, we gonna be here forever. You don't have any children. You're not thinking, but yet you can get up and run your yap about stuff that you don't know nothing about. Okay? Um, Check out a brother named Dr. Amos Wilson. He gives you a really harsh rundown on what life is. He comes from that African paradigm. And what I would suggest what people do is you have to remember that many of our elders and other people, they are into that African paradigm because that's what they were taught growing up. Just like a lot of people were taught about Santa Claus, and people still, because by the time you a parent, you should know that Santa Claus is bullshit. But we don't. We still fall in line with it. So this cat, Dr. Amos Wilson, he was brought up in that Afrocentricity stuff. He's down there from Mississippi. But what he did with the information he had, he tried to make the best of it. As people who are behind him, we should be able to pick that up with what we've learned from then. What other people have taught our kids about them being from Africa. Why did they teach you were from Africa? What's the number one? If you think about it, why would they teach you were from Africa? Why? So you won't lay no claim to the land here, so they can come take it. And that's what they're doing. And while they're doing it, guess what you're doing? Guess what the African Americans doing? I can be dumb if I want to. I had a sister tell me that before. She can be stupid if she wants to. You have kids. So this is what I want to just bring out to you. Pay attention to what's going on. Dr. Amos Wilson, he was saying the African people because that's what he was brought up in. All you have to do is take that African stuff and place it right here. You're the American people. Everybody else is immigrants. You don't think about that? You don't look at that in your favor? Do you look at anything in your favor? The African American never looks at nothing in his favor. He looks and asks his boss if he can look at it in his favor. And if his boss say no, the African American won't look at it in his favor. Am I lying? The African American is cloned. His DNA is from the black people, whose DNA is from the Negro, whose DNA is from the colored people. That's all they do is they just keep cloning a generation of people mentally. Oh, and it works. And then they put these people who you call entertainers in front of you that make complete asses of themselves. And many of you love your entertainers. They put a entertainer in front of you called Michael Jackson. In 100 years, Michael Jackson's going to be a white boy. He has white children. They're going to have white children. It's a pictures of Michael Jackson all the time. You can't tell if that was the original Michael Jackson. Why? Because he turned himself to what he turned himself into it, and he died looking like that. That is exactly what has happened to the African American's mind. You call a person black today, they'll cuss you out. I'm not black, I'm an African American. Don't worry, in the upcoming generation, the African American is going to be changed to something else. That's how they do you to disconnect you from previous generations. And we think it's cool. So look, y'all, think. There's all kind of songs. There's all kind of movies. There's all kind of videos where people are imploring you to think. That's what your artists are there for, to remind you to think. James Brown did it. Lynn Collins did it. Think. Aretha Franklin did it. Think. I mean, damn, we act like it, yeah, I don't have to do that. If you don't think, somebody else will come think for you. And you don't want that. So listen, it's Friday, the 15th of June, 2018. We're about to hit summertime. Um, we better pay attention to this summer because they have to eradicate a whole bunch of people. And you're in the middle of this guy that you call president. You're in the middle of his reign. The world doesn't look at the African American the way the African American looks at himself, or maybe they do. Pay attention. Have a good day.